What up, Barflies? You already know who it is. It's Big Dan.
Big Dan.
Rodan. I'm coming to you live from the 215. Your comic book connoisseur, your Somali of sci-fi and superheroes, here to welcome you to the Blerd Bar.
Blerd Bar.
I'm not by myself.
Not at all.
Never. The voices in my head are
Never,
actually people
ever.
next to me.
Never
Can you see them?
alone.
In it? They're in the room.
Oi.
Are we doing voices?
I just thought it'd be a good callback from the last time.
Let me know.
That actually would be a good comeback.
That is a callback.
Yeah.
Jeez. As you can see, the fun has already ensued.
Yes. That's
To
one word
my
for it.
right,
Mm-hmm.
your left,
Mm-hmm.
I have the pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
the honor,
Oh.
the expectational greatness.
I guess that's my entrance. My name is Khalil, a.k.a. Little Creative, a.k.a. Trafalgar D. Lil, coming to you not live from the 215, well, live from 215,
You
but
are
I'm not
live.
I am live.
You
from
are
the-
live.
You know, yeah.
We are literally live.
Wow, that's
At this moment.
We are live.
I am the author and creator of Celestial Kingdom of Magic, A Brother's Deception, available on Amazon and the Kindle bookstore. So thank you guys again for having me. But that's where I pass the mic to the right.
Oh, pass the mic to the right, because it's about to get tight, because we like sushi, and that be all right. That was
Bars.
cool.
That is.
That wasn't cool. It's
That was
okay,
impromptu, though.
It wasn't
That was
impromptu.
good.
It was
Someone
something.
argue that it's not hip hop.
It might
Someone
not
argue.
be. It would
That's not hip-hop.
You know what? That's on the cutting floor of Euphoria. Actually,
Ooh.
that's what that was.
You can't say nigga. No more.
Oh goodness! But nonetheless,
That'll date this immediately.
yeah, right? That's okay. Tis I, hailing from the land of Sake, Shinobi, and Samurai. The boy is Godzilla personified. Ain't no other name but this to go by. It's your boy, Jayhawk. Pterosaur.
Rodan would be considered a pterosaur.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like you've
Yes.
asked me this, and I'm like, you sure you isn't a pterodactyl?
No.
Stop.
What?
I'm not gonna argue with you
He's
about this.
specifically
guys-
referred to as a pteranodon in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 from
Ah.
1992.
Okay. Actually.
Actually.
You can go, bro. Yo, bro, you gotta go.
Push up my contact lenses.
Speaking of which,
To my right.
you're right.
To your right is John Jaguar, a.k.a. Kaiju Ken, a.k.a. the Kaiju correspondent.
Who was just about to leave.
That was
You can
wild.
go.
That was
You need to leave.
wild.
That escalated quickly.
Do you want to do
Well,
a-
first,
what are we doing?
hold on. We're back.
We
for
are
part
back.
2 of Niggas in Rivendell. They're taking the niggas to Isengard.
Oh no! Not Isengard. It's like, you ever hear Run Charlie Run?
Yeah.
The niggas is coming. The niggas
Yeah.
is coming.
Yeah.
And it's like, run, Frodo, run.
Yeah.
Look, the niggas is coming. The niggas is coming.
Wow.
Look it up. It's actually a really funny song. A white guy told me about that song, and I don't know what that means, but it was funny.
It probably meant something.
Sure meant
It
something.
might have meant something.
Nah, he's
We
cool.
can't unpack all of that.
Not right now, we can't.
But do we want to do Neko-chan, Nandeska Neko-chan, or talk about a cocktail first?
Nandeska Neko-chan.
Nandeska Neko-chan, digging his head. That's weird.
You said it.
Don't even make it weird.
There's got to be a less macabre way of doing this.
Nah, absolutely not. Okay. So the hot new game, Super Smash Cereal Bros, just dropped.
Okay.
Who are you maining, and who's your alternate?
Oh, this is
Super
easy.
Smash Cereal Bros?
Yeah.
Help me understand.
So it's like Super Smash Brothers, but like with the cereal mascots.
Obviously, Captain Crunch.
Really?
Yes, of course.
What?
His ultimate, where he gets into the SS Crunch and just sails across the ship, knocking you all around. The range is ridiculous. First of all, it's kind of broken, right? You know, they need to nerf it a little bit. But just the way his attacks get stronger when you rack up the Crunch berries, it's
Yeah. And you get grease on your tongue and scars on the roof of your mouth.
He's gonna give you scars all over the roof of your mouth.
Definitely not VR.
It's that Sword Art Online. Full time.
Big isekai vibes, right?
Oh my goodness! So you would main Captain Crunch?
Oh yeah,
Do you have an
he's a
alternate?
military man.
Oh, I got mine. Now that I think about it, go ahead.
Okay, so like if you unlock the additional costumes for the Cookie Crisp dog, You get the, he's got that one where he's also the wolf now that nobody likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying don't bother unlocking that. Stick with the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the wolf might be the cool, like... I also haven't seen him, so, like, he might be dog water.
No, it does not look great.
Really?
Nah, he was a fat dog before, and it was better.
we loved him
big what
then.
if.
We loved him then.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
What
Oh,
about yourself?
awesome. Then I'm going with Tony the Tiger.
Okay.
So he can
that's
with his
great.
up smash, they're great. Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Okay,
And
okay.
as for my alternate, I'm going with the rabbit from Tricks because Tricks are for kids. He's gonna be so hard to hit. His skills and techniques are gonna be absolute hacks, and he's gonna be the most annoying character to fight, like Mr. Game & Watch. I can see him being a pain in the
I see that. Do you have...
I got some.
Go.
What do you got?
So I got the Rice Krispie Bros. They play like
It's like a
Ice-
three-way
ice-
ice climber.
ice climber. Okay.
Oh, that would
okay.
be
Three-part ice
phenomenal.
climber.
All right.
that final
Fuck outta
of
here.
Snap Crackle Pop.
Ooh, that actually might be really
That
cool.
would be really
That actually might be really cool.
That'd be awesome.
That Snap Crackle Pop finisher would be crazy.
And then you have the little sound bites popping up. The onomatopoeia.
And then like their tactic is more of like they throw stuff onto the map that's like mini bombs, like Metroid a little bit.
Okay.
You know.
It pops.
That's
Snaps,
really
cracks,
cool.
it pops. That's cool.
I thought about this.
That's nice.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this question.
That's nice.
What do you got, Jeff?
My
your
alternate
alt-
would
yeah.
be Jack, the Applejack, the cinnamon stick.
Yeah. I was
That
about to
was
say, who's
fire.
playing that ugly-ass little apple?
Well,
No, he's not on the apple.
Is that his tag team?
No.
That's Chic and
because technically,
Like a banjo and
Speaking
kazooie?
Applejack is not the
Yeah.
apple anymore. He was the Rasta cinnamon stick.
Yeah.
Remember?
But he's got his...
He did have Apple people, didn't he?
what about
yeah, that was the
little-
apple.
the
The
little
apple would
guy?
chase and try
He
to.
was like an
He
antagonist.
was
Yeah,
like,
something
you
like
can't
that.
catch me. I'm the
He was-
Cinnamon.
Yeah. Cinnamon.
Right. There was Cinnamon and Apple.
I didn't realize there was two of them. Like,
That's
they would
Sheik
also
and
play,
Zelda,
like-
though.
They would also.
It could
Yeah.
be.
He's an unlockable character.
Unless he's
a
just
secret
another
agent.
character.
That's a good point.
Like what's his name? Lincoln Ganondorf.
Ah, so that's your name.
Yeah.
So to your annoying thing, I
The way you just like got triggered.
well
by
no
it.
like
Wow, I'm so sorry.
I put forth who my main would be, and it would probably be Lucky Charms
Ooh.
because he has an arsenal,
That's
and
factual.
I use
And you'll
Link.
never catch him either.
the
right.
You know,
marshmallows.
but
I
you know what'd
use
be
Link,
crazy
and
is-
so like I love the bombs and the boomerangs and stuff like that. So like if you give me an arsenal of stuff, I'm gonna go with the Lucky
mean,
Charm
but, like,
Leprechaun.
if
as
they
my
give
main.
you like some RNG on it, right? Because luck is RNG.
Mhm.
Are you really pulling the same? Like you could do the same move and get a different result.
get a different
every
result.
time.
Fine.
So then you have to be really good with
That's
it.
right.
I like it.
And then you might get like a stale marshmallow one time and it don't do nothing.
Why are you always trying to curse items? Nobody is doing curse
That makes
items.
gameplay interesting.
No. And
If
then,
you don't have somebody to bring you back down, you'll just float up into the sky.
that's okay.
No.
No, come with me. No, come on, crab attack.
I don't want to be down here by myself.
I need to ground you so we can be here together.
Crabs in a barrel.
My alternate actually was gonna be Tony the Tiger. Because I was thinking like if you lean into like I feel like they tried to make him like sports oriented.
They did.
So
He's
like if
buff
you
as hell.
yeah, like so if you
Yeah.
like lean into that and like maybe like every time he like hits you, he gets like another strike, which makes him like
I was thinking
more
like he's a
powerful.
little Mac character type character.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
I saw him like a mesh between like Donkey Kong.
I was thinking Donkey...
I was
That's
thinking
actually way better.
Ganondorf.
I get that.
Or Incineroar.
But we all know he's a
Yeah.
big. We know he's a
Yeah.
big power
He's-
kind of. Maybe he's a little slow, but he's the power kind of build character.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
His hits take more to hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Takes more
I
to get
can
him
see
off the
that.
screen.
Yeah.
But if I can't have, because I don't want to do the same, my alternate might
sorry
be.
about that.
No, you're good.
You don't be eating a lot of cereal out here.
I think my alternate would be Toucan Sam.
That also.
I
Can,
knew.
he would be like a Kirby character because he floats.
Yeah.
He floats.
flies
He
half
probably
the
like
time.
hypnotizes you or something.
Also,
like that.
That's a good
honorable
one.
mention. No one said the bird from what's his name? The one that go cuckoo for.
Cuckoo for
Cuckoo
Cocoa
Cocoa
Puffs. I was thinking about it.
Coco Sam, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Right?
He's
He has a name?
unhinged.
He'd be like
Yeah.
a Roadrunner character.
He's unhinged in the same way that Cookie Crisp is, though.
He's like the Crash Bandicoot.
Mm,
He's
yeah.
even orange.
I feel like the Tricks Rabbit would be too. A little bit.
I give you
There's
that.
a lot of.
He's
Wait,
always
hold
after
on.
them.
What is it with cereal mascots having like mental health issues?
Is
What's
that
going
is
on?
that a metaphor for drugs?
conspiracy.
That's not this
Conspiracy.
podcast.
Why are there so
Not on
many?
this podcast.
Why are there so many
Crazy side
crazy?
note. Do you know, like, crazy side quest? Do you know the reason why cornflakes exist?
Oh, well, yeah,
No.
Kellogg and to keep people from masturbating.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Cornflakes.
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 I
exist.
jumped right. No, I jumped right to it. It didn't
Yeah.
build up.
You're
at
like,
all. So Kellogg.
He's like balls deep.
Yeah.
Kellogg was a doctor, and he had a lot of notions. He was like puritanical with his Christianity, and he had a lot of really fascinating notions about what constituted like mental health and whatnot. He thought masturbation was like super crazy, like not good.
Detrimental to the world.
And he thought
burst on
proper nutrition.
2024.
He had this idea that proper nutrition
Would stop people
would
from being.
stop the impulse to masturbate. 'Cause
Little did he know.
yeah,
In
the
fact,
healthier you are.
I mean, the evil laugh next
So,
to it.
right, so
That's the crazy part.
he invented cornflakes to be like a very affordable, easily accessible nutritional meal, which it's cornflakes. But like
Stop minorities
he
from
thought this way he could lower like the sexual energy in people.
If they're
by
too
keeping-
sleepy, they can't.
With cornflakes?
Masturbate.
like
Well,
I
yeah, you gotta
said,
have a couple bowls.
Well, you know how much
didn't
iron
work.
Right. You know there's actual like metal in these foods, right?
Yeah.
Like iron
I wouldn't be
is the
surprised.
actual like
Yeah.
you can run a magnet across some of this stuff. And be like-
Wow.
And he was like,
I mean,
you know, if I put enough
You're
iron
not
in
about
this,
to like.
you know what I'm saying? They won't be like,
I feel like you have to
this is-
eat a lot of cornflakes to.
Yeah.
For
get-
context, though, this was the era of like medical science, where if they, you were acting up too bit, like a little bit too much, they're like, "Oh, that's cool. We'll just cut off a little piece of your brain, and you're
Right,
square."
But isn't that in the same? Isn't that in the same vein where they thought that like a chair that was giving girls orgasms was like that would help them cure the crazy?
yeah,
yeah.
Isn't this on? So it's all on the same time.
well,
Period?
it's a little later than that.
Yeah.
It's a little. We're a
Look
little
at that.
past
That's
hysteria.
post
machine.
O-chair.
That's
Post
post World War
O-chair.
II.
We're past
O-chair
hysteria
was
machines.
1920s.
You can see the correlation between studies.
Point is,
They was just trying to do anything to
Yeah.
keep.
science was,
Everybody back.
was a wild west back then.
Was it though?
Fuck it, let's try to figure
was
out.
the era of the secret ingredient of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
this
yeah.
was that was that
Yeah.
time.
That's how penicillin got discovered accidentally. You know, like what if I leave this out long enough?
Yeah.
What if I don't throw this out? Right?
What happens?
It's like,
penicillin.
it's like how rancid does something have to get before it
Before it
becomes
actually
good
does
again?
something.
Before the pendulum
I will-
swings back into good.
But I will give it to
That's
like
a wild
white
gamble,
people.
bro.
They be letting some stuff slide to the point where like we get some good discoveries. Like cheese got to be a white discovery.
Yeah.
I
Who
agree.
thought of that
Cheese was
first?
like
Cause I promise you,
Cheese-
ain't no niggas letting that shit sit in their fucking fridge.
Cheese
I'm
was
sorry,
like,
no,
no,
cheese
no,
was
you're
like,
right.
this milk's still good, right?
like it had to be some freaky bull.
If you
that
eat it
was
with a
like,
fork, this
what
milk's
if?
still good.
You know what? I
You think it
literally
was a
had
poor guy or just like?
Nah, it was a farmer who had too much time on his hands. I do not doubt.
You don't think it was someone starving?
Nah,
and
bro.
didn't have
No,
insurance?
And they were just
nah,
like-
bro.
You're
know
not
what?
generous.
Nah, bro.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it was like somebody who came and was like, "Oh, that smells," or is like high class. And he was like, "You know what? It is,"
Yeah.
and that's the price for it now.
He passed it off. He's
I mean,
like,
nah,
it's
imagine-
so high class. It's nobody wants it because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So, and
So
then they took
everybody
that
else
back.
is like throwing out their milk, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what we doing here?"
That's a perfectly glass of milk right there.
Right? He's like, "It's a little firm, a little stiff.
but it's like,
It's
I mean,
still drinkable milk." you know?
Somebody was like, okay, you.
that
you
sounds like a poor person.
You shake the chunks out, right? You shake out the chunks. You just toss away the chunks. The milk's still good. And someone's like, don't toss those out. Hold on. Let me try.
He's like,
That's some chewy bits.
but it had to be like one of them like dare things. Like
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey Bob, this little blue piece.
Mm-hmm.
What if you eat it though?" And he's like,
Blue cheese.
It's like, how many
And they're
smooth
like-
rocks are you gonna give me
"Yeah,"
for?
and
it?
they're just in there, and they're just like, "Yeah, Bob, eat anything. Bob will try anything twice." And you know, Bob like, he didn't die. They was like, he might be on the scene.
Shout out to Bob.
Shout out to Bob, yo.
So
Blue
from
cheese.
Super
We
Smash
appreciate you,
Cereal
Bob.
Bros to blue cheese. That's what you get
Tangents
here.
always happen at the Blerd Bar.
Wait, you skipped masturbation. That was part of it.
You said to blue cheese. I pressed
See?
my destination.
All right.
This is why Kellogg's did what he did.
This is why this goes straight to Patreon.
He walked, so y'all didn't run.
We're literally Dr. Kellogg's worst nightmare right now.
Yeah, it really was.
I want everybody at home to know my face hurts from so much how much I'm laughing.
It's not gonna get better.
It's not gonna get better.
Let's try our cocktails.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
we're
Oh,
doing the Wind Rider.
Ooh.
If you've been with us before, you know what the Wind Rider is.
Yes.
If not, please, you two should indulge because I don't think you guys had it. We're doing Sans Glitter this time.
Aw.
I don't know what to tell you. It was a
It's
lot.
fair.
I was making 4 cocktails. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so
I
the
like
Wind
it.
Rider.
It's still a 5. Still a 5 for me. Because it's light.
Out of
Yeah.
how many again?
Out
Out
of
of
5.
5 out of 5. Oh wow, that's a top score.
Yeah.
me,
And
this
also
is
is no lemon expression, unfortunately,
This
because
is,
I
a,
have
this
no
is a
lemons.
very good summer drink.
I can see that.
And
Yeah.
it's starting to get hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
This
yeah.
is a back porch.
So what's in this?
So 10-to-1 rum, ginger syrup, and lemon juice, and then topped with ginger beer. It's pretty much a dark and stormy. It is in honor
I love Dark and Stormy.
of Storm and her. I was gonna say her original suit, but her white suit with like the yellow. Because apparently her original suit is black.
Yeah.
If you've been
It's
watching
the-
97.
It's like the connected 2-piece.
Yeah.
Oh
the
yeah,
rings,
throwback.
yeah.
Good time.
So yeah, that's it.
Claremont fixed it, and we appreciate him for it.
And our commercial is a snippet of episode 2 of Built to Drink. And here it is.
Built to Drink is a show where we teach you how to make the best cocktail.
And whether that's trying out different liquors, different liqueurs, different types of combinations, we're all about trying out different parts and finding the best build for you.
And today we're going to bring you a seasonal variation on a classic cocktail. We are making a pumpkin spice white Russian.
And so at the time of this filming, it's October in the United States, so it's very much fall season. We got our fall decorations here. We got our fall attire. You got me in a cardigan. You know, got the orange collars popping. And so we really wanted to have a special drink to just celebrate the time of year, especially getting close to Halloween and such like that.
In our pumpkin spice white Russian, we have a vodka, Kahlua, pumpkin spice creamer, and we have pumpkin puree.
Just to really add that little extra something. So next what we're going to do is to clear the table, and we're going to bring out the different vodkas that we use. And this is all about finding, this is part of the build process. So we're going to walk through the different vodkas that we use, talk about kind of the pros and cons of each of them, and then ultimately pick one, and then we'll move on from that to actually getting to craft the cocktail. So with that said, we're going to clear the table and count us in. So 3, 2, 1.
And we're back.
Thanks, guys.
Right. So yeah, check that out. Check them out. I'm sure they'll be in the description below.
Yep.
And what are we talking about? We're going to Isengard, but what are we
The
talking
niggas
about?
have been taken to Isengard. So, we kind of left this off in, if I remember correctly, actually talking about black people in fantasy and sometimes the misuse or even the good parts of it, right? Like where we've seen people shine in it, you being an author and making sure that like the color of our skin is important in the story, but at the same time it's not the plot. The melanin's not the plot of the story. And I think there's a good balance versus being cannon fodder or being the magical Negro or the conscience of the protagonist, right? Where you can kind of do all those things and even exclude some of those things and get a successful story with the leading character being of color. So I wanted to ask everybody if you had what's your first negative experience of black people in fantasy?
I think, and this might be sort of a cheat answer, but I think the obvious answer as far as a negative experience of black representation in fantasy is simply the lack thereof. Is looking...
You can go now. My man went for the low-hanging fruit and was like, it's ripe, it's ripe, it's ready.
You know, watching Fellowship of the Ring and...
What is that, cheese?
You know, there's nobody in there, right? Like, just not seeing any faces that look like yours in this, in this genre, in this type of story that so many of us get invested in, so many of us like seek to find something in, and the fact that for a long time, it felt like most of the time there was nothing there for us. I've made some discoveries about the veracity of that I want to talk about a little bit later, but I think that's the obvious first negative experience is definitely just not having an experience. And then the second one is Marlon Wayans in the Dungeons and Dragons movie from 2000.
A lot of people don't talk about that movie, but yeah. I know why.
The interesting thing is, I don't think I ever. It took a while for me to notice that like black folk weren't there, and to even be like offended by it. And even to this day, I don't know if I'm like offended by it, but I just notice it. Right? It's more like
I feel like I don't know if I would even use the word offended for my personal offense. I feel like
Did I use the word offended?
I don't think you did. I
don't
think
think
it's
you did.
just.
You
I
said,
don't think
but you
it's
did
like,
say negative.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's like an offense in this like fragility of like, oh, it hurts me so, but it's just, but you still want it, right? Like you don't get like if you see someone like enjoying an ice cream cone on a hot day, you're not like, oh, it hurts me that they have what I want. It's just like it'd be cool if I had one.
But
It's
also,
it's cool that he's black.
here's the
Spider-Man,
thing.
but it's a little cool that he's black.
Here's the thing, though, because and I guess no, you guys might understand, but like.
Not you.
I hope so, because if I'm just like I relate to you, not at all, it's gonna be really awkward.
But
Not
like,
Dan.
I watched.
Dan's over there.
So I watch a lot of anime.
Yeah,
So growing up,
I relate to you a lot actually.
so like I wasn't into comics, right? So when you're watching anime,
Right. So when you're watching anime, there's not a lot of black representation traditionally.
It's not.
either.
It's really not.
Yeah,
No.
so it's the same thing. But what happened when you did start to see some black people? Like when the Cloud Ninja showed up.
Awesome.
Did you
When
not
who?
like the
The
Cloud,
Cloud Ninja from
Naruto?
from the-
when you met
Okay.
Killer Bee and
Yeah.
Darui and
I was like,
Hokage.
oh yeah, the
Yeah, it was
niggas
like,
have
oh, the
arrived. Now we got some
Sasuke
nigga
was doing real
shinobi.
good until
A nigga showed up
run,
and showed him who.
Sasuke, run,
And it was crazy because he had
coming.
the niggas is coming,
run, Sasuke, run.
and he was rapping
right,
too.
and
That was
he
cool.
different,
yeah.
right?
It was stereotypical,
Because
but
no,
it was cool.
all right,
Like
maybe that's me.
It
I don't know.
wasn't, and that's what I'm saying. Like for me, it wasn't like, oh snap. I was just like, oh cool. There's more characters.
It was
Right.
Big O Snap for me. Honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
I was just like,
Right.
right.
Shinobi World's gentrified too.
Right.
Or like Redline.
So it was just interesting, but I think it's more of a thing that like I notice now, and it's just like, oh, cool, they made that person black, or like even going way back to like Berserk, like the arguable character of
I noticed Casca.
it's like, oh, cool, she's here. That's dope. I don't like. She has some issues with like who she chooses to follow, but like it is what it is.
I mean, no one in that story is meant to be a flawless character.
Right.
It's a story about a lot of people making bad decisions.
Sure.
But I relate to that too.
Things like that. I think when I watched Hunter x Hunter and met the butler
I know you're talking
girl,
about. She was awesome.
I was like, that's really dope. Like, I would love to see more or hear more about her character or like her
They
story.
gave us just enough.
Yeah.
They was like,
She's had enough screen time.
Right.
Yeah. It's not her story.
Am I the only Kaname Tosen stan from Bleach? Bleach had
No, we like Kaname. We do. Bleach
Even
does
though
not
he's
see
Spider
her.
Man?
I fucked with him
Blind
until
guy.
he turned into a giant fly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was weird. That was kind of weird.
That was
kind of
ugly. That
weird.
didn't
I
make
want a
sense.
black character who's like cool all the way through to the end of the show. Doesn't die. Just has cold moments.
What do you think about?
I'm just
where
nodding
do you
my
place
head, yeah.
Yoruichi?
Yoruichi is she's like Goku. She's like the Black People Hall of Fame anime character.
Yeah.
If you have named top 5 black anime characters and you don't say
Yoruichi.
Yoruichi, the internet's gonna come at you.
Yeah.
She's kind of like you can't not say her.
So you would call her black?
There's
I
actually
would say Yoruichi's black.
there's also actually a lot of black people in Bleach.
There's
Like,
a lot of
every
black people in
major,
Bleach.
We are talking about black people in fantasy, but I'm
That's a
gonna let
good
y'all
point.
rock.
Right,
No,
right.
no,
sorry, sorry.
I just want you know.
Sorry. So yeah, I just say that like for me,
You
I
can't
was
talk
watching-
anymore.
And I'm just saying, I watched anime, so like it was more of like I ain't never see us anyway. But
Right.
like when they popped up, I was like, oh, that's cool. But it was never. I just like noticed when they do pop up.
You never really had like that yearning until
Nah, because
It's-
it's not a thing in anime, right? Like it's not.
It
I
wasn't.
like-
It wasn't
I-
a thing until as of recently,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
the fan base, I feel like,
Became
became more predominantly like more
Recognized
accessible.
as
Yeah.
black.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Popo don't.
We gotta cater to niggas. See, that was gonna be my answer.
I mean, Jinx exists, right?
Okay.
only if
That's
you keep
funny.
bringing it up.
Yeah.
Well,
Jinx,
then you have
Jinx and Mr. Popo don't have to exist if we don't talk about.
No,
Brock?
we're
Is Brock just a tan?
I think
Brock was black to me. 'cause I
Brock
was
is
a kid.
Cambodian at best.
Brock.
He is.
I can
Brock
see that.
is
I
there.
can see
He's like
that's an
for-
argument.
Yeah, I can accept that.
Yeah.
I think there's-
little tie.
there is definitely
You know.
something to say about like characters that may or may not be intended to be black, but you understand, like you
see that
black
they're
to
darker.
you,
Yeah, like.
and it's like who is someone else's intention to tell you you don't feel represented? You know, there's a lot of wiggle room in that.
Or you
that's
could
all
be like
debate.
Tolkien and be like, no, these orcs, black people.
Fishmen, One Piece.
Right.
They're shucking and
Yeah,
jiving.
well-
I haven't gotten there yet.
That's okay. Take your time. They'll be there very soon.
Okay.
For my first experience, I would say, also coming to mind was Mr. Popo. And
yeah.
technically speaking, there is the argument out there that exists that Mr. Popo is based on the Vishnu, the
deity,
god,
yeah.
the
deity.
deity Mahakala. But and similarly,
That's not proven.
but it's
Yeah.
not proven,
Yeah.
and it came out at a time when caricatures of black people looked a certain way that was identifiable and comparable.
That was very
to
Mr.
That was very Mr. Popo.
I was gonna say within OG Dragon Ball, there is
Right.
a black character
Who's
that
not
doesn't-
Mr. Popo?
He doesn't look very different from Mr.
I'll
Popo.
argue Mr. Satan is closer to being black than Mr. Popo. Look at his face.
Look at his hair.
Look at his hair. I'm the man that's going to be the hero, save the day.
That
Yeah.
is
But not,
really
not the
good
mustache.
Thank you.
Hercule Satan.
Thank you. But like
I wasn't ready for that.
He channeled that big time.
theater major.
Yeah.
I do feel like I can relent on the idea that Star Wars is probably more fantasy.
Sure. Yeah.
Since the last time we had this
the sake of
conversation.
inclusion.
Right. Yeah. That was
For the
thing.
sake of the conversation.
Sure.
But, you know, I really went back and thought about it after we talked about it. 'Cause I was like,
And for his answer to be ready for the night.
Right. Sat back and
but,
reflect.
like my negative experiences around fantasy, there was this one character, I'm trying to remember. It was like a YA fantasy thing.
Oh yeah.
And
Was it from
Thank God.
Hunger
Thank
Games?
God. YA is not problematic at all.
No way.
Nah.
Not from first poor depiction of black character in fantasy. Hunger
well,
Games was late.
it was also when I was young, so I'm trying to remember what it was. But now that I think of it, it's probably like Jar Jar Binks, for real, for real.
Oh, you know what though? What about in books? Because Animorphs, they had a black character, but she was actually really cool.
Right.
Cassie
She
was
like-
awesome.
She was really
Cassie?
good.
And
Yeah.
she was
Animorphs
the
was
smartest
like
more
and the
sci-fi
best
to me,
and the
morpher.
best morpher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. Okay, yeah, I will say
on
Animorphs
the
is definitely
genre.
In the
sci-fi.
genre of fantasy, like when you think about like
Are we
the
talking about
travel to
fantasy
another world.
specifically?
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
clarify
The
again,
name of the
fantasy is
episode
usually
is
around
Rivendell.
magic,
magic.
and sci-fi is scientifically explained
Right.
things happening. So
So-
if like
If we are talking about that, then I think I would actually double down on what you said earlier. Like
Yeah.
we just weren't there
We weren't
to
there.
even
Yeah.
like
I
even be
agree.
like, I wish we were here. It's like y'all don't exist. Shut the fuck up.
this is a fantasy world, if we could have it our way.
Yeah.
Stop
and,
it.
and even then, like the legendary
Of Zelda?
writers.
Just kidding.
Aha. The legendary writers of fantasy, the godfathers we would call them, of like, you know, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and things like that. They wouldn't write us in, but they'd write us in by othering us with like centaurs or fawns.
Now let's talk
And
about that because
saw-
While
us
we
as different
got
races.
time, let's go.
So-
Sauce is different
Beasts.
races.
I brought-
No. Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Beasts of
I,
Burden.
so last episode that we talked about this, Nick is in Rivendell Part 1. brought up the Earthsea saga,
Yes.
which is known to be one of like the biggest pillars of like the fantasy genre, like historically. It's up there with Lord of the Rings, and again came out in 1968, which is like a little bit more than a decade after Lord of the Rings. So we're talking about 60-year-old book series, and I've read the first book since we talked about it to substantiate some stuff I found in my research, and almost there's not one white named character in the book. Everyone.
Does everybody have like ivory skin? Not ivory. What
So
do they call
so
it?
the words used,
Olive.
the words used to describe the skin colors of all of the main characters are either red brown, black brown. Men of this certain chain of islands are referred to as dark. One character is like he was dark, like all men of the island. And the main character is definitely not white. He's to say it, they don't use terms, they don't use like modern ethnic terms like this is a black person, this is a Caucasian. But the way they are described, this person is not light skinned. He is like reddish brown in skin tone. Black people get a variety of skin tones here.
There's a spectrum.
Yeah, and amusingly, the only time white people are mentioned in this story is none of them get names, but there is, in the beginning, there's an attack by a race of, like this barbaric tribe who are described as having white faces and yellow hair. And none of them get names, and they attack, and they are pretty soundly defeated, and the story moves on. And that's it. Those are the only white people in the story. And I'm like,
Who wrote
this is a white lady.
Wow.
Her name is Ursula.
She was
Le
down
Guin.
with the swirl.
She's
Well,
alive,
you
I think.
know.
Do you think she's still hanging out?
Ursula, come on.
And so here's the thing. This is a legendary fantasy series.
Wait.
It's a famous fantasy series and has been adapted notably twice. Once by Studio Ghibli and the other time by the Sci-Fi Channel, and both times they were utterly whitewashed. Like completely whitewashed.
That's disgusting.
And she's commented on it. She's like, yeah, that's not what I wrote. Like, that's not a...
I mean,
Gimli makes sense.
Black people,
But like,
Gimli makes
if
sense,
you,
but they gotta-
here's the thing. And this is a story all about black people, brown people, non-white people, like impossible to clock as white people, where the color of their skin is inarguable. It is mentioned in clear language. It is not like a story of like dark-skinned suffering. It's not like the plot is about their melanin. It's a story about black people doing magic and going on a quest and just doing fantasy things.
It's almost
I
like
wanna
this
read
book
it.
I've read before.
What is it called?
What's it called?
A Brother's Deception.
Oh, like this?
It's on the shirt.
Oh, we have a
It's on the
shirt.
shirt. You got a shirt on.
I got a
You
shirt
got
on.
a shirt on.
There's merch.
Tell you about that later.
Buy it in
There's
a
merch.
hardback.
I did want to have I had a follow-up question as far as like positive. If you say Susie Carmichael, you can leave right now. But
I feel targeted.
I did want to read. I did want to go back
wizard
to
Susie Carmichael.
I did want to go back to the
Dark magician
conversation a
girl.
little bit. Stop.
Wait, yo, I cased that. Run the playback. Battle rap. This is Carmichael Fantasy 2024. You saw the day the episode dropped?
He's gotta go. He's gotta go.
Oh my god. Dark
What I
magician
wanted to
girl.
say was, you
It's
know,
like Black Magic Woman.
Oh no, that's amazing.
You're going to have to answer for that one
That's
day.
it's wild.
It's fire. It's so good.
I just think it's funny how, you keep
I'm
saying.
saying, go ahead, because you're running this. You're the DM, and I'm just a chaotic agent.
You are.
Yeah, he's the DM, but you're that player.
He's like, that dragon. You know what I want to do?
It's
Roll a d20. But
he's like, you can't seduce the dragon. I'm sorry, the dice says natural 20.
But I did want to ask again of like other characters you've seen in fantasy that were black that were refreshing to see, and didn't necessarily draw on the stereotypes of what we normally saw ourselves in film or in writing. I did the
Society of Magical Negroes.
So, not doing that, but
another episode.
I thought about like a Nazi in American Gods.
American Gods,
Okay.
yeah. Orlando Jones is Mr.
He
Nancy.
did kill that.
He killed. First of all, he
that
killed it.
role.
But like seeing a Nazi before in reading American Gods by Neil Gaiman, like it was just like
Yeah.
phenomenal.
That's like my favorite novel.
And then his monologue on the actual show, I can rewatch 1,000 times.
Anger
Anansi
gets
Boys are actually
shit
getting
done.
another. They're getting a graphic novel,
Really
Yep.
nice.
so I'm excited to hear that. But I feel like the stuff that got to survive by way of like folklore and mythology, to me, still counts as fantasy. Because
Oh yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't it? Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
You know.
it's the original fantasy.
it's the original fantasy. So, what about you guys?
Some might call it religion, but
Well,
Mythology is mythology. All right.
Yeah.
if I may, to
Gonna get
kind
us
of
in trouble.
Sure, go ahead.
pay homage to my homie Big Dan. In the DC universe, I was heavily influenced by Static Shock. I loved
Love
Static Shock. Static Shock was a show that
Now, would you call that fantasy?
I was about to say.
Nope.
I
This is Susie Carmichael guy over
okay,
here.
okay.
Gotta go.
You guys want to
Dark Magician
And
girl all over.
I hear you. You guys are sticking to specifically magic. Got it. Magic only.
Magic fan.
Got
Yeah.
it.
They're taking
It's
the niggas.
hard.
That
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Okay, here's the
Is it
reason.
though? 'Cause
Here's the
like-
reason that it's
Yeah.
hard for
Don't
me.
hide-
In his
Because of the
defense- in
first
his defense,
statement.
it's not-
Okay, I
in
will.
his defense, it's not everybody's like genre that there is.
Sure,
as versed
but we
in,
talked
you know?
about this before.
We did.
No,
We did.
I'm defending the guest.
I appreciate you. So to clarify for the people at home,
Am I?
Guys, come on, we've talked about this.
just to defend myself a little bit, as a creator,
Yes.
the more I limit myself, the less possibilities I have to include things in my fantasy. Because now I am getting to the point in my story where anything that I want to include, I can if I have a way of making it make sense.
The way
So
of the creator.
my magic is still connected to science in my world.
Sure.
Science and magic work together.
It's an incredibly good point about the confining borders of genre. Like,
Sure.
Like, you know, we were talking about like Star Wars fantasy or sci-fi. It's like, oh, it's more like fantasy, but with science elements. But it's
now
like,
you-
it's like if we're gonna sit here and draw those lines, you know,
Yeah.
if we're then a lot of stuff is gonna be up to interpretation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's going to restrict a lot of characters because we don't have a lot of black characters in magical
Which is
fantasy.
why I
That's what
was-
Which is the
saying.
question. That's
Which is
the
why-
point.
Which
yeah.
is why I wanted you
Oh,
to go
have you
digging
arrived
for
in
it.
Isengard?
Nah. Because I mean, honestly, if we talking about Isengard, it's not the greatest place for a nigga to go. But you know,
But we here.
we here now.
I was a really big fan of
Niggas are coming.
Reggae Jean Page's character Zank in the D&D Honor Among Thieves movie.
Which was not a bad movie.
I love that. I thought it was
It's
a lot
not
of
a
fun.
bad movie.
Yeah.
I'd strongly recommend
It's a
to
good
anybody who
film.
likes D&D even a little bit to watch it because it actually is a great like ensemble film.
Yeah, and he just like every moment he's on screen, he's cracking me.
I'm
up.
also
He's such a
team
good
Chris
character.
Pine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I didn't think I would.
That's who it was. I was like, who was the white boy in there?
yeah. It's
He
Chris
he also
Pine.
the voice of Magnifico in in the new Disney movie. Wish.
Oh, Wish.
I liked it. I liked it.
You-
Can I
you
ask a little
pushed that plug so hard.
borderline question?
Sure, go ahead.
If they're superheroes who got their powers from magic, do they count as fantasy? Because Black Panther's powers are magical. He got them from the heart-shaped herb.
He did.
His powers are very magical. And actually, there's a lot of superheroes whose powers are magic-based.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
what are you gonna
allow
say?
it,
Wait,
yeah.
Go ahead.
He got it from
Go
the
on,
heart-shaped
okay.
herb.
The heart-shaped herb is considered magic, even though it alters his body genetically.
Yeah.
But, like, isn't it
We
made
can talk about
from
the origin of where the herb comes from.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what I
that becomes
say.
scientific.
Yeah.
But, but,
I can understand that.
But
Unless
Yeah,
it-
yeah,
I
rooted,
thought-
hey, yeah,
but
rooted,
wait, wait, wait.
rooted in hard science, the flower that mutated from when the space rock hit it and allowed you to connect to your ancestors.
hold on, wait. I was about to meet him
Forget.
halfway because Bast does show up as an entity
Right.
Yeah.
She's a
that
cat
actually
goddess.
does empower him, and they also have access to a alternate dimension where these the mythos of Wakanda actually exists, because they had to fight them
Spiritual.
back.
The ancestral
So-
realm.
And the
that's a good
ancestral
point.
realm is,
Yeah.
I mean, so you
know,
It's hard for me. I didn't have as much pure magic, you know.
sorry.
I respect it. I appreciate you keeping everybody on the street. If we didn't have somebody to maintain the boundaries,
You know, every once in a while, there's got to be straight.
agents of chaos
Somebody has to
would
be-
take over.
Yeah.
somebody has
The
to be a
way-
redliner.
The way, hey, we've reached the end of the episode. You know what I don't want to happen again? Is for somebody to be like, "Oh, your Dan's a terrorist," and you know, he supports terrorism.
Oh my
You know, he might be a cop. You know, but
Aaron was wrong in some ways and not wrong in others.
okay.
I'm team Aaron was wrong in
Most ways, though. Yeah, most ways.
I think the vast
Yeah, most
majority of ways.
Most ways, I agree.
I
His way of thinking was kind of like intrusive thoughts.
Were
He
there
let him
any
win.
black people in AOT?
yeah.
They
That
came
one
after.
ball.
They came
The one
after.
ball. The one ball.
one guy.
His name was Ye Capone or something like that, and then they introduced him and they said, "Why is your skin so dark?" And he said, "I think that's the way that God created me. I don't think that I look any different. I think that if you look outside of the world that you know, you will see there's people like I think this is just how God created all of us. And if you look outside of your world, you will see there's way more people who look different than just how you do.
He said all that.
Not that I'm paraphrasing. No, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, Josh, it was in Japanese.
He was telling Armin. Armin was like, "Yo, why is your skin so
Josh is
dark?"
like, "Yo, send the link."
That's the nigga dub. That's the nigga dub. You know. But
But I do feel like when we talk about fantasy and especially black people in it, there are people like you who are integrating it into the conversation, at least, right? Because everyone should be able to tell a story. I don't think, despite, and I'm about to say something that may sound like Big Dan energy, and I apologize. But I do have to clarify.
Canceled.
Yeah, it's a clarifying statement.
that's okay. That's
setting
okay.
it up.
Away.
That's okay.
I do feel like
This is live.
Yep,
Just so you know.
can't take it back. But I do feel like anyone that chooses to do anything or create anything can choose to exclude anything and anybody. A lot of times, when it's people of color, or even in just 2024, the rest of the minorities that aren't white gotta be like, I gotta throw everybody in here so everyone feels represented and everyone feels welcome.
You touched on that.
You
last
are
time.
100% right, though.
But I'm still on that time.
You're right.
Where I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, it can be,
It can be just a black
like, your
story.
book can be just a gay book. Your book can be just a black book. Your book can be just a white book.
I think sometimes it's kind of hard for us to imagine.
So can I
But
tackle
why
this?
why is it hard for minorities to feel
Can I?
that way?
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I
Go
absolutely
off,
want to do
King.
that. So, as a quote unquote minority, just
Use a nigga in Isengard.
I'm a nigga
Move
in
on.
Isengard, right?
I'm sorry.
The,
That
part of the
sounded like a
reason, no,
derogatory term.
I get you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a
Love how
nigga
we
in
moved from
Isengard.
Yeah,
I get
to
it.
Isengard. That's where
So,
we're at now. It's niggas in Rivendell Part 2, niggas in Isengard.
Yeah.
that's
No,
exactly
it
the name of the
is.
episode.
They're taking the niggas to
taking the
Isengard.
niggas.
Yeah, we're taking the niggas to Isengard. No, but part of the reason that I feel like we
Fucking
think
Drows.
that way is because for so long having desired.
Drow's with a hard W.
Wow, what you got against Drow? I was a Drow in a previous campaign.
Really felt the W in that.
Really?
It was the way you
Fucking
dragged that.
Drow. Drow.
It's so funny because I just remember it from you guys talking about them
Yeah.
that one time. I remember-
Drows aren't so
All
bad.
right, come on, let
Let
them
him
Go
talk.
ahead.
Let him
So,
talk.
because we are minutely, if at all, represented in
Yes.
fantasy worlds, it would seem unrealistic to not include other unrepresented communities in this fantasy world because we know what it feels like to not be seen.
Right, yeah, I think it's because what we strive for, what we want is inclusion.
Inclusion.
It feels almost
Guilty, evil,
and
wrong.
contradictory to feel not sharing that same gesture with the
Right.
other hand. I'm not saying that's I think when you create a story, you can just create, especially if you are the one belonging to the minority,
Right.
you have the right to create a story. This is just a black story. This is just a gay story. This is just a. I don't think that's wrong, but I can understand why it doesn't always feel like it comes naturally. Because
I agree.
what we're striving for isn't
Utopia.
Yeah,
It's a fantasy. And in the utopia, everybody has equal representation.
Exactly.
The way that certain parties are misrepresented or underrepresented doesn't happen. So if we are creating a fantasy world and a utopia that doesn't have the problems of the real world we're trying to escape by delving into fantasy, why would we recreate a world that ignores certain people who we identify would feel similarly to us if we ignore them in our world?
Civil rights leader Scott Summers just said that it was a good thing that his people were nothing like
Because
there would be none of them left.
Sure.
Right? So I think it's that same thinking. It's like we're not trying to be the only ones shown. We just want to be shown. You know?
Right, but I'm saying that in the sense that, like, once again, this is where I'd be so worried that I'm gonna choose the wrong words that I don't say anything
I
at
agree
all.
with you.
I agree.
But
I
I'd be
agree
like-
with you too.
I'm
I
like
just
you on the
There's
slippery
certain
slope,
things,
Cyclops.
you know, segregation is sometimes safe. Sometimes
I-
segregation is sometimes the right. And I'm not saying it in the
Malcolm
sense
X
of
said
no.
it.
I
He's
get-
quoting Malcolm X.
He's not.
I'm saying it in the sense that, like, certain things you can own.
Yeah.
Like, that can be yours.
There can be
And if
spaces
you
just
are-
for you.
Right.
Yes.
If you are a creator of anything, you can create something for you, by you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No,
fighting?
you're not. Yeah,
I'm not fighting anybody, but I really
No, I
do
agree
feel
with him.
like
there are allowed to be places just for you.
I do
that
feel like
that
a
has
lot
to
of
be
times
fostered, especially
we
amongst
have to
minorities.
acquiesce. Like, we have a lot of times, especially as black folks, it is always on our side that we gotta play nice, and it's not that we be mean. We would not be mean if we were just like, this is just us.
I agree.
You know, we're gonna talk about the episode about black. Once we watch the documentary on Black Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Like, certain things you ain't gotta do. You ain't gotta make a documentary about Black Twitter.
But yes.
We didn't have to make a documentary about Freaknik. Like, these are things that we didn't have to talk about.
Before we get there, though,
But,
I
you
do
know, I'm
wanna
just
say
saying.
about
for you.
the
You're right.
because 2024 has shown us that, like, the world's just getting bigger and the world is just more connected. And what I said earlier, while Kent was making his great point, was just pointing out, like, intersectionality. And I think that can be another thing that is it's a new frontier that is being explored. So it might not even be like, I'm just gonna make this just black because, like, fuck everybody else. But it's like, if you are a black queer person, then you're going to
Right.
include those things. And,
I
like,
agree.
I'm sorry, James Kelly. Shout out to our A1Day1. He goes, I agree with Dan about writing whomever and not writing whomever you want, especially if you are trying to write from your own experience. I was about to say I agree with Dan without any context, and I realized how dangerous that can be. First of all,
because James is white, so, like,
James is white and Jewish.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
and I get it.
Yeah.
And, but at the same, we love you,
I
James.
get it.
I mean,
You are you've been our A1Day1, okay? But
that's funny.
like I said, I'm not trying to take it to a point where, like, I'm like draw the
Double down there.
Can I take it?
Go ahead.
I'll say this. As a black creator, I am very proud to be black. It's one of my favorite qualities about myself. And even as a black creator, I did not know.
Let him talk. Let
I
this
did not
man
know
cook.
that even in 2023, which was I released my novel in December of 2023.
Yes.
I didn't know up until then, and up until the previous podcast, Niggas in Riverdale Part 1,
Yeah.
until you said it. No, this is about to get deep. Check this out. I didn't know until Part 1 of the podcast.
Yeah.
Until Dan said, you know, it might be okay to just write black people. For me to think and realize as a creator of fantasy that, you know what? I didn't have to include other races in it, and I did it as a choice. And something switched in my head.
Be a genocide.
Oh,
Whoa,
shit.
whoa, whoa.
No. Oh my God.
See, you see what you do? You see
Chaos.
Yeah, we see what you
Chaos.
have to deal with.
He
man,
takes
you
this
know?
perfectly good piece of foil.
Yeah.
Actually, book 2 is a bit of a genocide.
We're all really hard on Dan, but like he puts up with
Yeah.
Jayhawk all the time.
You see how
You don't
much-
have to wait until book 2 for that.
Yeah.
Book 3 for that.
like that.
What do you mean you don't?
That onus. You see how much I like absolve him of his
yeah.
See,
And
somebody's
like,
following the
you're really
line.
the hero
and
here.
they'll really be like, yo, Dan's wilding, right? And he's saying some off the wall stuff. Meanwhile, this nigga be like,
And Rivendell.
Isengard.
Isengard. This nigga's doing this in Isengard.
So, but I feel this way about everybody. Like, this is where I'm very centralist on that anyone can do this and really can, because at the end of the day, no one's going to be able to say, oh, they were inclusive when there's 4 black people sitting right here with microphones talking about it. That's not inclusive. Yeah, James Kelly's in the comments, but he's not here.
He's a consumer.
And I feel like
I think the biggest factor though is like dominance.
Right.
Is who is the largest population who has to control?
But I'm
like
also
when-
not saying anyone's less than, right? I'm saying that
You're just
we
not present.
all-
That's not necessarily wrong.
right. I'm saying we all have an equal part in the fact that we can create something that doesn't necessarily include the person next to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, we.
You know
I
what?
just,
we
I
agree
know.
with you,
No,
Dan.
no, no.
Like,
I said that like
I-
10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
No. You were like out here.
I think that we, in the concept of fantasy, we have, despite the fact that the word fantasy is supposed to be something separated from reality, I think in the idea of fantasy, we ignore the fact that it's supposed to be as far from reality as possible. It doesn't have to have any credence in reality. It helps us as real people understand and conceptualize the fantasy and fantastic world when it connects and is rooted to some form of reality that we can comprehend. However, because it's supposed to be fantastic, the whole purpose of its existence is not to be realistic.
Right.
So I understand Dan's point where to some degree it's like it doesn't exist anyway. Who's to say that someone's fantasy of a world can't have one type of people? Like, check this out. Check out this idea. In a lot of sci-fi intergalactic series, did you ever notice that there's often one race on a planet?
Yeah, most alien races are like
One race.
one.
That is
Well, then again, humans are too.
one
is the
race,
thing.
but we're not right.
He's woke. Get him out of here. He's gonna go.
You gotta go. But like that's again, we've already come down to clarifying the different genre lines. However, not in terms of the genre fantasy and the concept of what a fantasy is.
Yeah.
Sci-fi is somebody's imagination.
Yeah.
So realistically, nobody's blaming any of the sci-fi niggas about writing with one species on a planet. Fantasy shouldn't be too far apart. I'm with Dan. I get it. I get where he's coming from.
Twilight.
I was just saying there's a lot of Twi'leks. I was about to say
Yeah,
Twi'leks.
some
come in a lot
Twi'leks
of
be
colors.
blue, some Twi'leks be yellow, some be neon
I was about
green.
to say, like,
you know what I'm saying?
when you see aliens and they're just like different hues, to the
Sometimes it
to the
plays a
point
part
of
and sometimes it
fantasy.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like to the part of fantasy. Like sometimes it's just like
They're
oh,
also
they're
not
from a
the-
different tribe.
But even still, that's kind of closer to classism instead of racism.
But they're also not writing them
well,
from a main character perspective.
depending. I was about to say sometimes
Depending.
It
True. A
makes
lot
sense.
of
You know what I'm
times
saying?
alien races
I'll
are like
accept that.
tertiary. They're
Yeah.
not really treated.
Nobody's
as
caring
characters.
about what class
Now,
system.
only green Twilight.
No. No one cared about what color Greedo was. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Who's Rita?
Oh, hey, Dan! I promise you, a Star Wars fan cares about everything.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, like,
They
nobody-
care about everything.
But like Greedo's
some of them
backstory-
are they're
I got
counting
some
the
friends
little
who I would
nubs on
love to
Greedo's
introduce
head.
to this episode.
Sure.
For your Star Wars
Yeah.
fanatic, but they're. I don't say nigga on when we go and play Dungeons and Dragons because
It's fine.
You should.
you
it's
get
fun.
it.
I get what you
Right.
mean.
So I'm not gonna introduce them to this episode.
No, you can. They can't.
I
say
still
it.
have to go play D&D.
But they can't say it. But you get what I'm saying. You can still send them the episode. But anyway, but I think to this point, a lot of times we're very tertiary as black folks and everybody else's stories. And when it's time to be main character energy, we share the spotlight with our
That's a
B
fact.
characters, our C characters. All of a sudden, they're more interesting because
That's a fact.
you know what I mean. Like Finn was done
I'm
dirty
never going to forgive them for
every
Finn.
time
Yeah.
I think about it. Like you see the trailer, you feel like, oh, he's main character. He picks up a lightsaber. They never go anywhere with it, and you're like, hey, can we talk about this?
I'm never going to
And
forgive
they're
them
like,
for Finn.
shut up,
Right.
nigga.
And it's the way that they were like, he's a character, B character. C.
No,
C
no.
by.
He doesn't.
No. He is a character.
Lowercase
It's like,
a.
oh, you missed the
Lowercase
It's
a.
lowercase. He's a character.
He's a character. You put the emphasis on the
Yeah,
wrong syllable.
it's like in The Simpsons. Like,
Syllable.
no, money down.
Yeah. And it's just. And I think when I see stuff like that, that's what bugs me the most.
Yeah.
Is because I know in the writing rooms and even in the contracts, it's like, hey,
Mention that a lot.
we talk about that a lot.
They be making dumbass choices in the writing rooms.
But
dog.
like, someone goes,
This
pitch
was
it
good.
this way, and then red herring.
But then
And-
to that point, I think I would imagine that a lot of the creatives who are black in those writing rooms, they experience that stuff. And so that's like it kind of it's like a feedback loop. So like when they do break out and like get free and like make their own stuff, it's like almost like not a trauma response, but it's just like
It's a trauma response.
I know how it was. Back to your point of like, I know how it is to like not be heard or not be represented.
Right.
So like, let me include people.
I agree. I get what you're saying, and I understand that.
It's like, and that's weird, but it's like when you're in those rooms that are dominated by
Right.
the folks who be.
And
Yeah, that's the
You go people
the
of color before you
double-edged
go
sword of
black.
it is
Yeah.
like I think minorities absolutely should and need to foster their own spaces.
Yeah.
You know, in these genres and their stories. It's something that like not only like should they like can they do, but they should do it.
I
But
just
I
don't
think
think we
also-
haven't done it well enough for me to be like, go branch out and include everybody, right? Like the 70s existed, blaxploitation exists, and we didn't do it well. And then all of a sudden we had a moment.
Some would
I
argue
just-
differently.
Ho. Really quick. Then we get to like the Spike Lee eras, the Robert Townsends. We start getting movies that are like us, for us,
Black.
by us,
Okay.
but not financed by us. You know what I'm saying? Or we didn't have the same budget. Then we get there. All of a sudden, Hollywood's like, they're going too far. Get Larry, see if he's available to just be executive producer on this, and then writing notes.
What do you mean about they've gone too far? Speak more about that.
Please.
So Spike Lee started generating millions.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, there's these production notes that start being made, whether or not it gets sent to all these theaters. And, you know,
and for the record, we do know that is very deep,
very
deeply
deep.
rooted,
Runs very deep.
very deeply rooted.
And
Hollywood's planned.
We always talk about. We always end up back at this conversation where it's like, we need to start making stuff for ourselves, but it's really like, there's so many stopgaps in between that, where like we start to climb up that hill a little bit, and somebody like, hey, cut that out. And
I agree.
I feel like now is an opportune time for us to not be as our doors should not be as opened without a bouncer at the door to be like, hey, you really rocking with us? Or if not, like, let us tell the story. And it could just be for us to tell the story to other people who look like us.
That would be a tricky way to like facilitate that bouncer or
Sure.
that like gate,
Right.
that gatekeeper to be like, yo,
Right.
you ain't
That's
really,
the- see,
you're
that's
not a
the word
nigga
that
for the
was being
niggas.
tiptoed around this
I was
whole time.
trying.
He was trying real
I was
hard.
trying.
You're not a nigga for the niggas.
Trying
Right.
real hard.
Like Steph,
he-
you endorsed that new Good Times.
He was executive producer on it. You know, like, not all skin folk is kinfolk, and I
Yeah.
get that. But it really be
Oh,
on
he can
some-
say that, but when I say he needs to shut up and dribble, then
You said that as a joke. You said it as a joke.
It's
You
a
weren't
big
100%
deal.
committed.
You didn't lean in. But I do feel like, because we can, like I said, we can go on about this for a really long time, and I don't like living here, but it is important when I see people who are doing the work and writing their stories and say
Self-published.
right, self-published.
Thank you.
And then
thank you.
all of a sudden someone else, some white lady with a bleeding heart finds it and goes,
Now
You
you know
should-
somebody's
Hey,
gonna have to have a heavy
I'm
conversation
being
on the
real.
way.
I'm telling the truth. Some bleeding heart white person is going to be like,
Actually, I might have a
you
conversation when I get
should
home.
have to, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever thought about like selling the rights? And you're like, well,
Fuck no.
right.
I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I've already
But-
thought about that. It's not happening.
You know, but I'm saying that's what happens when they want to co-opt the story, our stories. And I feel like once we really corner the market on our stories, hold them close. Sure, they may not blow up the same way. This podcast may not be seen by 100 people.
It's
But-
impactive. It's generational.
Right. But I feel like
He's
if
just talking about the
we're
podcast.
doing if we're but if we're really doing
will
this
be.
for us and like because we care about us, you know what I'm saying, then I don't care what nobody else think. You know what I'm saying? This may not get the millions of views, but if it's really for the culture and we're really doing this because we care about people and on getting our stories out there and talking about it from our perspectives, then why sell out because it gets you out?
The motive. That's exactly why.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's the-
I
it's
got
the-
It's the motive. It's the motive. It's the motive. It's the motive. It's the motive.
It's the motive because like if you're including, if you are,
Did y'all hear
including-
Blerd Bar just got sold to Disney? Well, Josh said he got bills to pay.
If you are including to hit a quota,
Dan
like
left
if
the
you're doing it
podcast.
to broaden the demographic to get a quota, that
Yeah.
is an agenda. That's different than if the story you wrote is just a diverse story.
Right.
I'm gonna say this briefly and leave it there.
Mm.
African American / Black communities focus on individualist progression over communal advancement, and that's that. And I'm done.
I think there's some who agree with you, and I think there's some that would say
I think that's
there's really-
debatable.
it is. I think it's 50-50. I think there's really people who
And then
really
there's
out
the-
here
there-
caring, but they don't get the funding because, you know what I'm saying?
Or they do get the funding, they do come together, and then Tulsa, right? And then
And then
Philly,
Tulsa. And then Tulsa. And then Tulsa.
Or then you go to Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. It's one or the other.
I mean,
I'm staring at the microphone cross-eyed if you couldn't tell.
you said or Steph Curry. Is that what you said? You said Tulsa or Steph Curry? That's
No.
So that,
wild.
like,
That's what you're saying.
interchangeable. Tulsa, those carry the same weight. That's Tulsa.
Wow.
Oh,
He brought it up.
We did
Oh,
not
word.
plan to
Would
get
you
this
rather?
deep in Isengard.
That's the worst.
would you rather?
Oh my God. The Matrix, red or blue pill.
We should probably
Does that count as
We
fantasy?
We have reached the end of the episode. I wanted to thank.
No.
tell us what
Before
you
we reach
rather.
the
Wait,
end of the
wait,
episode-
wait.
Before we reach the end of the episode,
Okay.
I have something very special for the Blerd Bar. I met the Blerd Bar 2 years ago. They have gifted me with their time, with opportunity, with support. And today, I would like to repay the Blerd Bar. I brought something small. I am a...
I really don't know.
I've been on
That's
the
okay.
show like
That's
5
okay.
times. I've never brought them
This
shit.
is a small little something for
Hey, first of
everybody
all,
here tonight.
Thank you.
You can come get it now. You can come get
I'm
it later.
gonna
It's up to you.
take this for Sterling.
And look, it's something that you won't appreciate until after you read the book. So I hope everybody enjoys. This is a heads up.
Hold on.
Right now, that's okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Temper toss, but it's okay. I got there. So these
Thank you.
are small buttons and stickers.
Thank
For
you.
those of you who have read the book, I'm not going to tell you what the sticker is of because you already know.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't read the book, if you guys want to hold that up,
I have the hardcover coming on the way from
Yes.
if you guys want to, we have stickers coming. We have buttons.
Thank you.
Currently, there are shirts available for like
T-shirts.
order,
T-shirts.
and you can find all of that information and how to contact me on any of the above on my link tree. It's available on my pages that they're most likely, obviously, 100% going to tag in the
Yep.
description. So for the Blerd Bar, I love you guys.
Nah, man.
I'm
we
charging
appreciate
for this
you.
stuff, but I will give you as much free stuff as I can because you guys have given me so much opportunity. You guys are great people. You allow me a safe space to be the nerd that I am that has created this.
Oh, man,
So
we
I love you guys. I appreciate you.
That's why I keep coming back here.
And with
That
further...
they give me free drinks.
Oh, the liquor was absolutely phenomenal, by the way.
This is really nice.
Just for the record.
You're welcome.
But and future developments with the series, I will be back to like tell. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be back, but I would love to
You're
because
always welcome to the bar.
you guys are gonna be the first outlet.
up.
You
Yeah.
guys are gonna. That would be. They are so amazing.
Yo, if you just show up, I'm like, hey, yo,
Patreon.
that's not this episode.
That's not. I'm like shit. I'll sit in the audience.
We're going back. We're going back to the other studio.
We're going back there and down Rivendell. There it is.
I'm changing locks.
Right.
I'm moving.
He just
you
shows
know.
up to your house. We are at the other.
But in the future, I would love to come and share with the Blerd Bar because you guys have been like you have been the first outlet to support Celestia Kingdom of Magic this series,
You're welcome.
and I will never forget that. So thank
Hey,
you,
man.
and I love you guys. So thank you, I appreciate it.
So real quick, hold on, because we gotta wrap up the episode. Quest item, man.
The Halo Iris.
Huh?
Halo Iris, it's fantasy.
Halo Iris.
They didn't get it last time. They got
They didn't get it, the obsidian.
They got Obsidian Strike.
Yeah.
So the Halo Iris.
The Halo Iris. You're welcome. Shout out to our man Khalil here. What does it do? Yeah, since you here.
Actually, coming up, this is a little hint. This is a little sneak peek. This is a little,
Blerd Bar
spoiler.
exclusive.
Blerd Bar exclusive. The Halo Iris. Each Halo Iris has small little traces of mana and magic, and each different color Halo Iris has different purposes. And there's one specifically that has one incredibly.
What's the Blerd Bar one? So that way we
What's
can
the
give it to
Blerd Bar color Halo Iris?
them. Yeah.
The Blerd Bar color Halo Iris is purple.
Okay.
And empowers all rolls, so you get advantage on all rolls moving forward
All right.
I like
for the night.
You're welcome.
Okay.
For the night.
Don't
Advantage.
forget, because this one's for the actual. This is not for the Patreon. This is for the actual video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't left a comment, the thing you can comment is Isengard. That's just if you can't think of anything else, just put Isengard at it.
Or
And-
or niggas.
Don't just
You
put
know what you-
niggas.
You know what you don't do is that.
You will get flagged.
James is like, they told me to
Yeah,
do it, but like, I don't know. It's like, I don't think I can follow through on this one, guys.
Yo.
He said to do it.
Dark magician girl.
I don't know anything about the light one giving me orders like this, but
It's about to be Susie Carmichael in the chat.
That's hilarious. I was just gonna
You were
say,
gonna plug something.
I was gonna say, check out the cellar.
Yes.
Um,
There will be comic book content coming.
Yeah.
Some shift changes have happened, so there will be some comic book content coming.
Check out Afro Izakaya on Instagram. It's afro.izakaya.
Yes.
That's where I'm gonna do a lot of anime reviews.
The seller content will be on my personal page just because I don't feel like making another one. We currently have like so
that's
many.
Real. That's real.
So it will be at Big Dan Rodan. There will be a whole bunch of other stuff there. I do photography. Did you know me and Josh do photography?
We do photography.
I
you
found
need-
that out tonight.
So if you need a photographer,
And it's good.
whether it be for cosplay or your events, I mean, why not? Because this is our platform.
Yeah.
Why are we not promoting us?
You should do that every time.
you can
So what's-
always ad read yourself.
Yeah.
For the record, who's gonna stop you from the self plug?
That's at lioncat.entertainment. That technically produces all the content that you see here, even Built to Drink, because we're trying to run our own business here. So, you know what I mean?
As Lion
Afro-
Cat, as in like Saga.
Lion Cat, lion,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
lion,
Hey,
like
I like that.
the animal.
Yeah.
Cat, Kat,
All right.
dot entertainment.
And J Taka Photo.
And J Taco Photo. Or
Which
at
is
Big Dan
actually
Renee.
under Lion Cat. So
Yeah. This is we do stuff.
we do stuff.
You
We're-
guys
we're
like
keeping
had to
it-
grow up
do
together or
stuff.
something. You had to.
That's a whole nother episode. I'm sorry.
I have to see that episode. I would like to watch that episode.
Origins.
Can we do that? Can you guys? I want to know the story. I hear all the time about how they're your inner thoughts.
I mean,
Blerd Bar Zero.
because we got maybe I can tell
No, I want the full episode so I can go home and watch that while I write. I watch you guys while I write. Fun fact. I don't know if you guys know that. I watch you while I write.
Oh, we didn't know that.
You're very entertaining. You bring me like cool mellow peace. You put me in a good place like for my nerdy juices to flow, and I just get to typing while you guys are just
Is
bickering.
that our
on.
finale episode? How we met?
Blerd Bar.
Yes, I
Blerd
want
Bar
that.
Origins,
I'm
yeah.
a Blerd Bar fan. I want that as a
He's a
Blerd Bar
Barfly.
fan.
I mean,
We're
I'm a
Barflies.
Barfly fan.
Every episode we've done, every 10th episode we do a questions from the Barflies, but maybe we should do like an origin thing.
This is
No, have you ever done that in 8 seasons? How have you not?
Yeah.
People
Well,
don't know. You owe it to them.
This is our 8th season, 9th season. By our 10th season, maybe we do it there.
But see, the problem is if you talk
gotta
about
wait
your
till
backstory,
Christmases.
someone dies afterwards.
Holy shit,
Oh.
that's fucking dark.
Yeah.
Well, we've reached the end of the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it. We love you guys. As we always like to say here, y'all have a blessed night. Peace.